recognizes Senator from California.
Well, got promoted.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you to the witnesses for being here.
This exchange between Congressman Derek Tran and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth was a very tense Capitol Hill moment.
Mr. Secretary, I just got word that Senator Padilla from my great state of California was physically assaulted and arrested for attending Secretary Noem's press event. The mere fact that he showed up, he was forcibly removed. Is this how you would treat a member of Congress who attends your press event, whether invited or not?
Well, I've been here for 5 hours, sir. I don't know about that.
I'm just asking, would you have me forcibly removed from your press event?
I'm not going to speculate on a hypothetical. I'm sure there's more context.
I'll take that as a yes. Mr. Secretary, does the DOD have any plans to allow the military to follow the orders of President Trump when his order violates the Constitution? Yes or no?
I reject the premise of that question, which is that President Trump is ordering unconstitutional orders.
I'll take that as a yes as well. Mr. Secretary, the deployment of active duty Marines to California is incredibly disruptive to the lives of service members who are being drawn into the president's publicity stunt. And I want to know how you're planning to take care of these troops. So will you commit to sending my office and this committee a detailed plan on how you plan to house and feed the 700 Marines and potentially thousands of Marines?
What's disruptive is when concrete blocks are thrown at the heads of ICE officers. And so we're proud that National Guardsmen and Marines have responded in real time to help defend those federal law enforcement officers.
So do you have a plan? Do you have a plan to house?
Not only do we have a plan, but it's been a focus of mine. I've held a riot shield before in a riot. I recognize what it means to respond in real time without enough time.
Mr. Secretary, will you get me that
everything
plan,
they can
please?
As fast as they can, and we have a plan for that.
Mr. Secretary, I reclaim my plan. Chairwoman, LA Mayor Bass stated that the area placed under the recent curfew is around 1 square mile. Is that the same area where service members will be deployed?
Service members are in Los Angeles to defend law enforcement, ICE agents, and facilities.
So essentially you're telling me that American people that a 1 square mile block of LA, and for the record, LA County is over 4,700 square miles, warrants the deployment of 700 Marines and the federalization of 4,000 California National Guardsmen. You testified earlier that you will send in the military to protect local law enforcement. Did LAPD Police Chief McDonnell ask you for your help?
I read reports on a regular basis.
Did he ask for your help?
From ICE agents
I'll take that as a no.
More grateful.
Did LA Sheriff Luna ask for you to send in the military, Mr. Secretary? Did LA Sheriff Luna ask you to send in the military? Yes or no?
I don't work for the LA Sheriff, sir.
Well, you said you sent them in to support the military, but they didn't even ask for your, to support law enforcement, but they didn't even ask for your help. Have you been to Los Angeles in the last 7 days?
My team is, from the top down, focused on making sure Los Angeles
I'll also take that as a no. How did you arrive at the decision not to coordinate with local law enforcement and the governor's office on the initial deployment?
It would be great if the governor attempted to actually coordinate instead of grandstand.
All right, so I believe you're secretly deploying troops to an area without coordinating with local officials is somehow not disruptive and to the logistical and operational conditions on the ground. You agree with that?
I would need you to repeat the question, sir.
Does the department plan on coordinating with Governor Newsom's office on local law enforcement and local law enforcement going forward, Mr. Secretary?
We've coordinated with local law enforcement quite well, but the governor's been an obstruction to that, of course.
All right, Secretary Hegseth, this political stunt, and by your own admission, is expected to cost the American taxpayer at least $134 million and will disrupt the lives of hundreds and potentially thousands of active duty Marines and 4,000 National Guardsmen. That's $134 million and thousands of personnel diverted away from critical missions in the Indo-Pacific, where China is rapidly expanding from Europe, where NATO needs U.S. support amid growing Russian aggression, and from CENTCOM, where tensions are escalating so critically that your own General Kurilla had to cancel all his testimony in Congress today. Your redirection of combat-ready troops from real-world national security threats to manage a domestic protest is gross mismanagement and a slap in the face of service members whose lives are disrupted throughout this event. As a veteran myself, it's a disgrace, and you should be ashamed. I yield back.
The gentleman's
Madam
time
Chair,
has expired.
Madam Chair, can we add into record, please, that the gentleman from California has just stated that it is okay to have 1 mile of complete criminality in L.A. so long as it doesn't cover the 4700.
That was not my statement.
Madam Chair, we have...
that it's
Mills,
okay.
Mr. Mills has not
Gentleman's
been
not
recognized.
This is absolutely
Either gentleman,
You're putting
either
words in
gentleman
my
is
mouth,
recognized.
Congressman.
Have the right
Mr.
to over to the. You have not been
Chair,
recognized.
either
by
gentleman
the
is
chair.
recognized. The chair now
neither have you.
recognizes
Controls
the
the time.
congressman
And neither have
from
you, Mr.
Louisiana, Mr. Higgins, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Let's bring it down a notch, shall we?
And I want to really sit with this for a moment, because exchanges like this are easy to clip, easy to turn into partisan sound bites, and easy to dismiss as just another heated hearing. But if you slow down and actually listen to what happened here, this is one of those moments that should linger with you. What Derek Tran was doing was not posturing. He wasn't trying to score viral points. He was asking the kinds of questions that have to be asked when the most powerful military on Earth is being deployed inside the United States. Questions about legality, questions about coordination, questions about cost, questions about the human impact on service members who signed up to defend the country, not to be pulled into domestic political standoffs. And the most striking part of this exchange isn't just what Hegseth said, it's how often he didn't answer. When asked whether members of Congress should be forcibly removed from public events, he wouldn't commit. When asked whether the military would refuse unconstitutional orders, he rejected the premise. When asked whether local law enforcement requested military assistance, he never said yes. When asked whether he had even been on the ground in Los Angeles, silence. When asked for a concrete plan to house and feed hundreds of Marines, the answer drifted into anecdotes instead of accountability. That pattern matters. Because when power is exercised responsibly, leaders don't fear clarity. They don't dodge yes or no questions. They don't hide behind rhetoric about context while refusing to provide it. Transparency isn't a burden, it's a requirement, especially when you're talking about deploying armed forces into American cities. And let's talk about the service members for a second, because they're the ones who always seem to get lost in these conversations. 700 Marines, 4,000 National Guard troops, lives disrupted, families put on hold, training cycles interrupted, careers paused, all for a deployment that even local officials didn't request in an area that represents a tiny fraction of a massive metropolitan region. If this were truly about emergency support, coordination would have been front and center. If this were truly about necessity, the justification would have been airtight. Instead, what we got was deflection, defensiveness, and finger-pointing at state officials. Then there's the money. $134 million. At a time when global threats are escalating, when China is testing boundaries in the Indo-Pacific, when NATO allies are watching Russia closely, and when CENTCOM tensions are so high that testimony had to be canceled, we're told this is the best use of resources. That should make people uncomfortable. Not because public safety doesn't matter. It absolutely does. But because priorities reveal values. And right now, the priority seems to be optics over strategy, messaging over mission, and control over coordination. This is how democratic norms erode. Not with one dramatic decision, but with a series of smaller ones where accountability is blurred, precedent is set, and people are told to accept it as normal. Military deployments without local consent. Constitutional questions brushed aside. Oversight treated as an inconvenience instead of a safeguard. You don't need to be anti-military to be alarmed by this. In fact, respecting the military means being honest about when it's being misused. Supporting service members means questioning deployments that put them in impossible positions for reasons that don't add up. And this is why hearings like this matter. Not because they're flashy, but because they expose the cracks. They show you where power resists scrutiny. They show you how decisions are justified or not justified at all. So don't just scroll past this. Don't just file it away as partisan noise. Ask yourself whether you're comfortable with the answers that weren't given. Ask yourself how this precedent could be used by any future administration, regardless of party. And ask yourself who ultimately pays the price when lines are blurred. Because once those lines are crossed, it's very hard to redraw them. If you made it this far, make sure you hit like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I really want to hear your thoughts on this exchange because conversations like this don't end in committee rooms. They shape the country we're all living in.